Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. A pivotal encounter took centre stage in the Premier League as Solskjaer's United prepared to host Rodgers' Leicester. United needed the win to delay City's title party, but Leicester desperately needed the win to stay in a good position for Champions League qualification. And in the end, Leicester came out on top, 2-1, thanks to goals by Thomas and Soyuncu, whilst Greenwood scored for United. The XG indicated that in this tight encounter, Leicester created more, 0.99 to 0.21, with the XG time map showing that most of the action came in the second half. But what tactics did both managers use? Let's take a look. And here's how both managers lined up, courtesy of the wonderful OneFootball app. OneFootball has been a long-term sponsor of the channel now, and it is the best football app around, giving you lineups like this, stats, match updates, transfer news, and so much more, absolutely free through the link in the description below. We'll first assess United before moving on to Leicester. Early on in the match, when United built up, they struggled to progress, using their default 4-2-3-1 shape. This was due to Leicester's effective press, as their back five would shift to a 4 out of possession, allowing Iheanacho and Vardy to press the centre-backs man-to-man. And here we see the first instance of United missing Maguire, as he is great on the ball and could have potentially broken this press. Leicester could stagger their press, with Vardy initially deeper to filter the ball out to the right, whilst Perez tugged infield. And once Bailly got on the ball, Vardy would then press, with Perez covering more centrally. And then once the ball went to Williams, Perez would look to press, and Leicester generally looked to win the ball in these wide regions. Switching to a 4-4-2 also nullified the natural 2 vs 1 advantages United would have had in the wide regions had they stuck to a 5. But Solskjaer adapted about 20 minutes in and gave United some much needed control. Matic would drop into the back 4 at times, splitting the centre-backs, meaning they would now have a 3 vs 2 advantage here, making it difficult for Leicester's front 2 to press. And Mata would drop deeper alongside Van de Beek to form a double pivot, with Greenwood at times also assisting to create a 3 vs 2. So in these scenarios, Leicester could sit off of the back 3, making it more difficult for United to progress through the well-protected centre of the pitch. This central progression was made even more difficult, as firstly, neither Mata nor Van de Beek would be in their preferred positions between the lines. At times Mata would drift higher to be between the lines, but this meant that there was only one man deeper to progress the ball and he could easily be cut out. And here we once again see how sorely Maguire and Lindelof were missed. When they received the ball unmarked as wide centre-backs, both looked to drive high into the midfield to draw markers and open up new passing angles. But both Tuanzebe and Bailly were static with the ball at their feet, wasting this opportunity. So we began to see Matic drop to left centre-back to dictate the play from there, with most of United's play starting there as a result. And at times, if Vardy and Iheanacho were pressing, Albrighton would be drawn to pressing the third centre-back Matic, which would leave Tejas free to receive and drive higher up the pitch. But more importantly, he filled in the Maguire role to a certain extent, as he could drive up the pitch, even dribbling past men, to force United to move higher up the pitch. In fact, Matic completed the most dribbles in the match. However, higher up the pitch, when under consistent pressure, Leicester could once again shift to a 5-4-1 in order to remain compact, and as a result, United struggled to create. But Leicester also used some interesting mechanisms. The Fox is primarily built with a back 3, and rather than stay in an attacking midfield position, Perez would take up this position in the left half space whilst Albrighton generally stayed wide. And United used a lopsided 4-3-3 with Mata pushing up alongside Greenwood and Elanga when pressing. Diallo stayed lower on the right, but was always ready to potentially push forward to press, making it a 4-2-4. But this front three generally stayed pretty narrow, and their cover shadows made it difficult to find a penetrating pass into the pivots, so we often saw Leicester centre-backs being forced to play backwards. But with Elanga playing so high and central, Leicester could take advantage down the right. Albrighton would naturally have a 1-versus-1, and Castagna could move wider to create an angle to receive. And crucially, where Vardy is more of a runner in behind, Iheanacho is comfortable linking the midfield to the attack. And with Elanga often high, he drifted to this right-hand side in support of Albrighton to try and create a 2-versus-1 against Tejes. And if Tuanzebe didn't stay touch tight, we would often see Iheanacho look to turn and potentially play runners in ahead of him. But at times, Tuanzebe did stay tight, which could work against him. This shows in Leicester's first. We see United's narrow pressing three with Mata and Elanga joining Greenwood. Elanga narrow allows Castagna to move into some space wide on the right. Tejes and Albrighton have their usual 1-versus-1, and Iheanacho doesn't tend to run into the space and instead drops into the space to support Albrighton. This time, Tuanzebe follows Iheanacho, and this was one of the rarer times where the space in behind him was taken advantage of, with Tielemans making the unchecked run. So, Bailly has to go across to cover, meaning Williams has to track Vardy, leaving Thomas free on the back post. His incredible volley finds the back of the net. Overall, the result means that City are once again champions, although United fans will be pleased with the progress this season, and will be aware that most of their first 11 didn't start this match. Leicester are now in a really good position to get back in the Champions League, and will be hoping United's rested players will do them a favour tomorrow against Liverpool. But what did you make of the match? Drop it down below. And if you want even more content, whilst helping to support the channel, consider checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/footballmadesimple. You'll get early access to videos, exclusive videos, as well as access to the upcoming FMS video podcast. And a big thanks to Vance Brown, Joshua Savinsky, Ryan Pork, Happy Rock, and Dave Lukeski for their support on the Patreon Ultra tier. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.